All right, so sometimes what I plan to do and what actually happens are two different things. But so, Nick, here's the box. I did what you said, and I eased all the corners. I sanded the entire thing and flushed up all of my cuts, which were all hand cuts, which was not easy. And I leveled out the bottom so it doesn't rock. Well, there's a 32nd of an inch there. I'm gonna have to only play on carpet. All right, so here's the treadle. I could do a better job sanding around it, and I'm going to easing the edges and stuff because I don't want it to chip. Oh, that's what it was. I was joking around that I was going to make a wah pedal out of cardboard, and this is cardboard. But I think I may. I don't know if I have to strengthen that up. It's if I put my full body weight on it. But see, that's the thing. I put the fulcrum point in the middle, and now I'm going to put two brackets, which is going to raise it up higher. So it's going to be able to have quite a steep angle on it. And because the fulcrum point is so far forward, hold on, I'll get my coffee. Because the fulcrum point is so far forward, I'll be able to stand on this. Well, I can put my foot up here, I reckon. Right? See, it's a lot more control, right? For slow stuff, right? I mean, provided it's strong enough. Oh, it's got a little glue on there. Uh-oh, my shoe is becoming part of the circuit. This is that I just folded it and I folded it in half and then hemmed it over, and glued it down. This is that stuff you put on, from the dollar store, my favorite store again, right? That you put on the kitchen shelves to keep the dishes from sliding off and stuff, That's what that is. Well, I don't want to paint this. I want it to show, like all my cut Forstner holes, and I don't know. Maybe I will paint it. I don't want to paint it, but this is it. I wrote down the guy told me on the other Vox circuit, which is not the one I have. Hold on a minute. That dust. 103J is the sweep circuit. There's no C5 or anything written on my circuit, so I'll have to find out which one's the sweep. The 47, I was fond of the 47. It gets that nice, dark, bubbly tone. But then when I was going through my stuff, and I said, well, I got all this extra space here. I'm putting the switch on the outside. I was thinking about putting a volume pot, right? A volume matching pot, which I don't know how to do yet, right? There'll have to be some kind of a buffer or something. I don't know how to do that, but I'll figure it out. This is the 5-way switch from Radio Shack, right? And Nick told me, he said, don't hook the capacitors up to this, make a little separate little breadboard or a little space somewhere else, where they're all hardwired with nice little wiring harness going to this. And obviously I got to cut that shaft. And then I'll have to put a pin through it so it can, with the whatever knob I put on there. But this is my prototype, right? Oh, excuse me. That stuff will get right in your last nerve. So yeah, there it is. And I'll be able to select through 5 different capacitors, sweep capacitors, right? Boom, 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 right? And I'll just put like light, dark, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and draw 5 tick marks there, whatever. I'll try to do it nice and neat with a fine pen, or a pencil, maybe just with a pencil. I like how this looks so raw. It's exciting. So there's the sweep. That'll probably go right about here somewhere, approximately. The brackets, I have to cut them. They're very strong, but I have to cut them. Hopefully this is strong enough to handle it, I'm going to drill it out and put a large screw in there, so it should be strong enough, I'm hoping. And all the pressure will be up on the pedal. So, and I gotta countersink a couple screws in here. I don't mind that I'm gonna put them on there. I did get impatient and put this on first, but I like seeing screws, you know. I like what that motorcycle guy once said. He said, why do they hide the oil and the gas lines and the springs and the screws and bolts? He said, to me, he said, when I build a motorcycle, part of the fun is seeing that, you know, that thoughtfully bent gas line and the mechanicalness of it, the springs and the bolts and the tensioners. So I'm the same way. So I'm gonna, you know, space them out nicely and put 2 countersunk screws in there to keep this piece on there. I'm hoping this is hard enough. It seems like it's a very hard piece of wood, and this doesn't flex very easily. It's not flexing much at all, and most of the pressure is going to be right here because that's the arch of the foot. And then obviously I'm going to put rubber bumpers, and because it's going to be up higher, you know, I can afford a lot of that. Now the other thing I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to get about, you know, and I checked the pot, you know, I can see where the sweep range is, and then there's a lot more and a lot more in the other direction. So whilst those are, you know, considerably in a guitar range, more dead areas perhaps, I'm going to try to get like at least 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch more travel than the average wah, right? So that, you know, I like that video that someone made. Nick said I'm not supposed to say, you know, like, you know, but I do. I told him I said. He said, no, you don't. I said, yes, I do. I totally do. But anyway, I like that video that someone made. And he said, oh, this is, you know, your dream of getting a wah pedal. And you're like, I'm going to wail, you know, and then you get it and you're like, wah, 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 wah. And, you know, throw it in the closet. It's like, that was boring. But that's the point of this one. It should feel and behave more interactively based on it's going to be higher. There's going to be a slight bit more throw. And I will have rubber bumpers here, you know, so you don't have that going on. And the angle should be, I could cut some of this off, you know, make the angle even steeper. That's the whole point, is this is supposed to feel like I can dig in. Whereas a regular wah pedal, like the article that I once read, oh, he used to literally stand on his wah pedal, and he would literally break the housing and everything, which I can see how that would be, because that's always been my frustration with a wah pedal, is that it's so, you know, narrow and easy to sweep, and, you know, unless I have a drink of alcohol or something, like, I'm thinking a lot about or if I get into the music, but I just want to see if I can create a slightly wider sweep, and certainly a more balanced fulcrum point, which is further toward the front. I don't know if this is, but I literally sat there and put it on the floor and, you know, put my foot on it several times to see, you know, where I'm going to get the most. Yeah, that's it right there. Look at that. Oh, yeah, right? Now I got to unglue it from my foot. It's contact cement. I got it all crummy and crudded up, but it'll just stick all that much better. Well, it looks cool, right? It looks cool. So, and under this, so the brackets will come up and be here, but maybe I'll put some rubber under here to help, you know, cushion the weight of standing on this. And that's supposed to be the point, of standing on it. This is very strong. I might put a clear bottom on here so you can see all my harnessing and my handiwork and my epoxy madness. But oh, that's the other thing with the jacks. I don't know if I want to put them in the end. Honestly, I like the way it looks in the end. I know that if this was ever to be for a pedal board, which that's not the intention, it's not to be for a pedal board, so I'm reckoning perhaps I'll just put them in the end, but I don't know. Technically, they should be in the sides. And I might even screw a power jack in the side for later if I decide to hook one up, but I'm not going to. But, and as far as battery access, I have like a battery clip that's totally going to get epoxied and a little tiny self-tapper screw or whatever. Not a self-tapper. Okay, just drill out a hole and put a little tiny screw and some epoxy around it. And there'll be a battery clip there that just clips the battery in. So technically I could go without putting a bottom on this for a while until I figure out what I'm doing. But there's the 5-way switch, volume knob, which I may or may not get around to for a while. The foot switch. Hopefully I've left enough room. This should be right about there. So it's going to be mighty close. Almost annoyingly close, but maybe I can put it more toward the outside instead of centered here. I'll have it as close as I can get it to this outer wall, maybe right here. Well, no, you know, technically I don't see why this couldn't go right there as far as I can get it over, which is very far. That's very far. So, yeah. I mean, that's not the best position, but maybe I can put it even further. Maybe I'll put it like totally all the way flush to the edge and just let the bracket. I don't want the bracket to hang over though, so it'll have to stay in, you know, that 1/16 or well, 1/8 of an inch there, so that the bracket doesn't hang over. I don't want the bracket to hang over. I could, but I'm not going to. Originally, what I was going to do was I was going to put the pin through here, you know, and channel this out so that it sat in here. That was my original idea, and then just put little brackets over it. But when I started realizing if I go up higher, I have all kinds of options, you know, with my rubber bumpers. If I want to put a spring under there. The only thing is I'm going to have to make the gear. The wheel has a gear, but that's what the other thing I was wondering as well. If I wanted to go like with a much further sweep, like almost, you know, a 1/2 inch to 3/4 more sweep than what a wah pedal would have, I'd have to lose that gear on the pot and put excuse me, it's just dust. Lose that gear on the pot and put some smaller way, you know, of operating it, which would actually make it turn slower with a full sweep. So I will be able to get an even bigger sweep, but you know, I'm exaggerating. It's not going to be up that high, but I did see someone with a video. They had theirs up very high, and I was like, cool, homebrew. All right, so now that I put my foot on this, right. I'm trying to crush down that hem there, because it's folded in half and then hemmed again on that side, but there. Yeah, because when I put my foot on it, it pulled it all up. That doesn't look bad. It looks good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this will be up slightly higher. It'll be up about another maybe I wouldn't say a quarter, maybe 1/4 of an inch higher. So that's a lot of sweep. And of course, you know, I could put my rubber bumpers where I want it to stop, you know, because the pot does have a lot in there, but you know, you don't want to go, I would think, you don't want to go to I don't want to go to the end of the pot, or anyone would want to go to the end of the pot, because that's just going to break it and wear it out. But I'm going to try to get more out of it than what most wahs do. So this is my prototype, right? Top secret. Don't tell anyone. Don't hurry up and use your pedal company to steal my idea. I don't care what you do. Well, yeah, that's the 5-way switch. That's not my original idea. I had a wah pedal with a 5-way switch in it. It was called an RMC2. That was the one I was telling you about with the polypropylene metal film capacitors, which you could totally see the metal film inside them because they were clear plastic. And I never got to use it or learn about it, because a wah for me is like a second effect. It's not. I usually don't play with any effects, mostly these days, but this is exciting. And then, of course, I got my delay pedal kit, which I don't want to delay in building it, but I also don't want to rush it. Make sure all the parts are there and everything. It doesn't come with very sturdy directions, honestly. It assumes that you know everything already, which for someone who knows a little bit, it seems very self-explanatory. But like the man was pointing out on YouTube, you got to know what's your positive side and your negative side of your capacitor, and certain things have to go in the right direction whilst the resistor doesn't. Which these are things I don't know, but obviously I know how to, glue things together, right? Nick says I should put screws all the way around this, little tiny screws all the way around it to hold together, but I don't know if the glue will hold it. Maybe the glue won't hold. Maybe he's right. Maybe I need to put screws all around it. I don't know. I don't want to. I like the clean look of it. So all of the jack holes, I'm thinking about putting them in the end. I am thinking about it. I don't know. It would just look cool, but I don't know. Yeah, I cut it by hand, so there's but I sanded it and it's filled with glue, so it looks cool. It was hard to keep that little handsaw straight, but it is a fine saw. It cut very nice. I didn't show you the front side. It's a little worse, but not bad. Doesn't look bad. Yeah, that's the one I favored, that 47 picofarad or microfarad, whatever that is. But there's a whole huge spectrum. It goes up to 200 and something thousand, was what he showed in the sample, of usable capacitors. And he showed how to do it. You put the two wires with the alligator clips and just demo all the capacitors you want to try and see which ones you like. With a 5-way switch, I certainly have a lot of options. But I'm going to install the 5-way switch, but I don't know that I'm going to get around to doing it. I'm going to hook the circuit up straight so that I get to use it. But I definitely want to change the sound, make it sound like, something that fits me. I do like that dark sound, that but there are times when I may want something brighter for sound, so it'd be good to have that switch. So anyway, oh yeah, the holes will have to have countersinking, with the flat Forstner bit. I could get one. I'll show you what a Forstner bit is. I do have some. Hold on. I don't know if I have the right size. I don't know if I have the right sizes, but I do have some Forstner bits. These are Forstner bits. And this is what it does. See, it's got what they call the little brad point there. And it cuts the hole, so it'll totally... And I'll put blue tape around it so I can see what I'm doing and only go, yay deep, so deep there, so that I can screw the nut on, because these types of things aren't made, to be mounted in something that's, what is that, 3/8 of an inch thick? It's very, very thick, so yeah, you can see how thick that is. Alright, so I probably, before I screw everything in, I should sign my name nice and neatly in there, Michael Machayo. That's the correct pronunciation. Machayo Edward Lee. Whatever. I don't know. Nick says this thing's gonna go big. It's gonna go big. I'm like, whatever, Nick. It's a wah pedal. I made a rotating speaker cabinet prototype, which was cool. And I remember the guy who got that. He's the guy I got that famous guitar over there from. But I remember he was like, "Oh, you're a genius," and I was like, "Don't sit on it or anything; it'll break." And it's just a prototype. But what was cool about it was that had a brushless motor in it with an infinite ramping. And a brushless motor makes absolutely no noise engaging and disengaging with its speed control. So whereas a Leslie 16 or a Vibratone or is that what it's called, a Vibratone? Well, they're basically the same cabinet. Or an actual Hammond speaker or any other spinning speaker motor would traditionally only have two speeds. Well, those two speeds without a treble horn and a bass speaker don't favor guitar frequencies well, whilst you could use one guitar speaker and be able to find that speed that doppels or accommodates the best chorusing for whatever distortion you're using or whatever tone you have in your guitar. And the thing is, too, I never did get to hook it up to a foot controller, which was what I wanted to do. The thing is, when you would disengage the speed, when I would disengage the speed, so it was going, and then disengage the speed, and then it would continue to spin, completely silently disengaged, and then pick up again after it gets to the point where, where I've lowered it to. So that was the advantage to a brushless. It was a conveyor belt motor, actually. It's what it was, a conveyor belt motor. Factory conveyor belt motor. He was like, "Oh, you're a genius." And Nick said the same thing about this, but I mean, I've seen wahs that had 5-way switches in them before. So, but I think the thing he was excited about was the different fulcrum point and the length of the treadle and the height of it, and trying to get maybe an eighth to a quarter more out of the sweep just for the sake of the feel of it. Maybe leave that toward the darker end. Set up the gearing that way. I don't know, but I don't think it's genius, but I'm excited. It seems cool. All right, so that's it. Everything else is redundant from this point. I knew I'd need this someday. It's just sitting in my tool bucket in the closet. I knew someday I would need it. Again, I don't remember what I originally bought it for. Probably for covering that. Probably for covering that spinning speaker cabinet I was just talking about. That's probably why I bought this originally. I did use it on a job site for some carpet or tile or something I glued down on the floor or something. I don't remember. All right, that's it. So, I can show you the bracket. I mean, it seems kind of like, I don't know, not cool, but I don't have a bench grinder or anything, and I would totally cut this over round like that, right? But so here's the hole, which I'm going to use. I'm going to use the hole, right, which will put it up. It is about 3/8 of an inch more off of there. So, and then again with the bumpers, I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm excited. And this is lower than a traditional wah, so I can afford to go a little higher. And of course, this angle will be steeper than traditional. Oh, it's exciting. Yeah, and like I said, I'll put a little rubber underneath here in the center. Obviously, I got to cut that because I'm going to have one here and one here, and that's not going to work out. But I'm going to put a little rubber under there to help support the weight of standing on it so it doesn't snap loose from the pivot points. And it's just a prototype. I mean, it could be, impinged upon, whatever that means. But yeah, that's how close I'm going to try to get it to the outside edge here. I'm going to try to get it like totally maximum to the outside edge here like that. I'm just going to let it fall down to the bottom there so I can let go of it so you can see it. Oops. like that, flush with the outside edge. I don't want to go any further than that. So there it is. I'm excited. Nick says you have a week to finish it. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Whatever. These are very strong brackets. You could hang like severely heavy shelves on them. They have this knuckle in the middle there, like that weld indentation. It's not a weld, it's like an indentation. Strengthen it. They're very strong. Well, it's just a matter of how strong that is. So, all right, that's it. Redundancy. It's just cool. It's exciting to look at. It's inspiring. I think. Hopefully, inspired someone else. The only thing is that switch placement. You know, my switch is going to have to go over as far as I can get to the side. I could just put a toggle switch, and you have to do it by hand. Like, not a big deal. But it'd be right to have a stomp switch, like Nick said. Maybe I'll put a stop switch, and I'll put one of those, you know, beer caps on top of it or something. Make it bigger. That'd be cool. It's like sand the graphics off of the beer cap and epoxy. Oh, there I am with that epoxy and epoxy the beer cap on top of the switch. I don't know. All right. See you later. Bye. I miss my children. I want my children back. My heart is breaking every day. I'm staying alive. All right.